Okay, I'm going to start this explanation just by reviewing the essay that we are currently working on. The prompt is to write a 600 to 800 word MLA-style academic essay discussing a specific implicit bias, why this bias is a problem, and what can be done about it. So just from looking at this prompt, the first part of the prompt gives me the information about what kind of a paper I'm writing, how long it needs to be, and that sort of information. The second part actually tells me what I have to write about in the paper. So one of the aspects of one of the sections of my paper, in order to satisfy this assignment, is to discuss a specific implicit bias. Next, I have to have a section of my paper in which I talk about why this bias is a problem. And third, I have to talk about what can be done about this bias. So when I go to outline my paper, to plan my paper, and that's what I'm doing, I'm planning my paper so that I'm writing and responding to what my instructor is looking for, I'm going to use each of these parts as one section of my paper. So, in my first body paragraph, in order to answer this multi-part question for my instructor, and I can only have one main idea per paragraph, I'm going to talk about the specific implicit bias. Next, I have to discuss why the bias is a problem. So I'm going to plan that one of my paragraphs is going to discuss that part of the question. And third, I have to talk about what can be done about this bias. So I have to plan ahead that one paragraph is going to have to talk about that issue. By planning my paragraphs ahead like this, you can see I know I'm answering the question, the writing prompt. I know because I can see here, this yellow, this part matches up right here with the first section. And then this green part, I've got it already planned to go into my paper. And now this third part right here. So before I start writing my paper, I know this is how I'm going to organize it. And I'm going to go looking in the readings and the videos for quote sandwiches and examples and explanations that are going to help me discuss the specific implicit bias in my paper. And I'm going to look for quote sandwiches and examples and explanations that are going to explain why this bias is a problem. And I'm going to look for quote sandwiches and examples and explanations that talk about what can be done about it. So you guys started out your draft this way. And then we had this activity that was the peer check-in. So I'm going to open that, and you'll remember this is where I asked you guys to fill out the paper using a specific example. So if you had to talk about one specific bias, you had to say what it was right here. And I used the example of ageism. And then I had to give a context for ageism. Ageism is everywhere in the world. So I wanted to say television. I'm going to talk about ageism on television. And that is part of the work in academic writing, is focusing your paper enough that you can talk specifically and make some kind of a claim that you can support within an essay. So who does it support? Who does it hurt? Senior citizens. They're harmed. How are they harmed? Well, they get demoralized. It contributes to their mental well-being. And then what can be done? Who could do something? If we think back to Lisa Eberhardt's speech where she talks about disrupting racial bias, she talks about what people can actually do to make changes. So an example that I'm using is TV producers could work on this problem. And what could they do? They could stop casting senior citizens as bumbling idiots. So they could stop casting seniors as in stereotypical roles. So now I've got these three parts of my paper, and I'm going to just sort of show you them side by side. And now I'm going to make the coloring match up. So here's discussing a specific implicit bias. There it is. An explanation of why this bias is a problem. Right? So over here, your paragraphs should be answering these questions. Right? So discuss a specific bias. Here are the questions. What's the bias and the context? An explanation of why it's a problem, who it hurts and how it hurts them. And then down here, what can be done to address the problem? Who can do something and what can they do? So this checklist right here serves also as a planner for us to create workable topic sentences for our paper. So I'm just going to bring up those topic sentences that we came up with in class. So here we are with our check-in document. And what I did was I created a topic sentence for each paragraph based on these answers. If my whole paragraph is explaining one specific type of implicit bias, then I have to talk about these things in my paragraph. So here's my first topic sentence. Ageism is a common implicit bias on television. I took ageism and I took television and I just combined those things together into this one topic sentence. I did the same thing here. In this paragraph that's about why the bias is a problem, well, who's hurt? Senior citizens. How are they hurt? They're demoralized. So now I have in this sentence here, ageism hurts senior citizens by depressing and demoralizing them. So I combine these ideas together into one sentence that's going to be discussed in my topic, in my paper, in that paragraph. Here's the third one. What can be done to address the bias? So I have to talk about who can do something and what they can do. So here's my third topic sentence. TV producers can alleviate ageism if they stop casting seniors in stereotypical roles. So there's the TV producers. Here's what they can do. And those two ideas are combined together in one topic sentence for my paper. Now what we do is we take these three topic sentences and we combine them to make a thesis statement. And I always do this personally after I've written the body paragraphs of my paper, because I don't really know what I'm going to say in my paper until I've written it. So here I have these three sentences, and I'm going to just find a way to combine them. And yeah, it's going to be one really long sentence. So I'm going to change this over to pink. All right, ageism is a common implicit bias on television. And then I've got ageism hurts senior citizens. So I can take this second ageism out and just put that hurts senior citizens by depressing and demoralizing them. And now I want to combine this next sentence. And one easy way to do that is to just I could put a semicolon and say, TV producers could alleviate, and instead of saying ageism, I might want to just say this bias if by not casting seniors in stereotypical roles. So all I've done now is I've taken my 3 topic sentences and combined them into one thesis statement. And then what I can do is reword this thesis statement. I'm just going to put it into new words. I'm going to paraphrase myself. And this will be the reworded thesis statement for my conclusion, because you have to repeat your thesis statement in your conclusion. So I can just kind of move these ideas around. I could say, I'll start like this. Producers could combat ageism on TV by not casting older actors as stereotypes. So I've taken essentially the same words or the same ideas and put them into new words. And now I have my reworded thesis statement ready for my conclusion. And so that is the heart of the homework assignment, which I'll show you right now. Here's the homework. You're going to create the 3 topic sentences for your essay based on our activity in class, the peer check-in. So here are the 3 topic sentences. And then you're going to combine those sentences into one thesis statement. And then you're going to go ahead and reword that thesis statement. And you're going to then arrange your topic sentences and your thesis statements as I have here. So you're going to start with your first thesis statement. You're going to then put your first topic sentence, then your second topic sentence, your third topic sentence, and your reworded thesis statement for the conclusion. This is the homework. This is what you need to have for Thursday. A thesis statement that combines your 3 topic sentences, each of the topic sentences, and the reworded thesis statement. Okay? I hope this was a helpful explanation.